the perpetrators of terrorism must be held accountable. They must be brought to justice.
We'll be discussing that.
If there are attacks, if there are terrorist attacks, we will act against the perpetrators, the supporters, the financiers, the enablers.
Victims and perpetrators must never be equated, and India has every right to defend its people against terrorism.
अपने जोशीले भाषणों के लिए मशहूर विदेश मंत्री एस जयशंकर ने क्वाड विदेश मंत्रियों की बैठक में आतंकवाद के खिलाफ कड़ा रुख अपनाया, जिसकी अब मीडिया में खूब चर्चा है। अपने अमेरिकी दौरे के दौरान विदेश मंत्री ने लगातार आतंकवाद के खिलाफ भारत के रुख को उजागर किया और आतंकवाद से उत्पन्न वैश्विक खतरे पर भी चिंता जताई। देखें विदेश मंत्री जयशंकर का अमेरिका में वैश्विक आतंकवाद पर 7 मिनट का प्रहार।
You know, we had I mean, you saw that it was something which I spoke about publicly in my remarks. It's also reflected in the joint statement of the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. And essentially, I mean, I've been with each of my counterparts. I had shared with them this sense that look, the nature of the terrorist challenge, the fact that we have confronted it really over multiple decades, and that we are very resolved today to respond to it very firmly, and that we have the right to defend ourselves. I think that's something which not just Quad partners, but I think many other countries. I was in Europe. You had a lot of countries recognizing that. But what is important for us in the Quad statement, as also the statement which the Security Council had issued on April 25, is that the perpetrators of terrorism must be held accountable. They must be brought to justice. And that's important because we then have to communicate to the world that what we did during, on 7th May, the objective of Operation Sindoor is that if there are attacks, if there are terrorist attacks, we will act against the perpetrators, the supporters, the financiers, the enablers. So that message, I think, was conveyed with great clarity.
I'm very pleased to be back in DC for the second time this year for a Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. And let me begin by saying that we're all committed to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific. To that end, our endeavors are devoted to promoting a rules-based international order. It is essential that nations of the Indo-Pacific have the freedom of choice, so essential to make right decisions on development and security. In the last few months, we have made significant progress in Quad initiatives. They include the maritime domain, logistics, education, and political coordination. We will be discussing that in greater detail. The working of the Quad has also been made more efficient through streamlining the working groups. A more cohesive, nimble, and focused Quad will certainly help deliver better. Quad is about deepening our convergence and expanding our common ground. I value our consultations on different dimensions of the Indo-Pacific in that regard. A lot is happening in the world, and I'm sure that our exchange of views will be very valuable for all of us. A word about terrorism in the light of our recent experience. The world must display zero tolerance. Victims and perpetrators must never be equated, and India has every right to defend its people against terrorism, and we will exercise that right. We expect our Quad partners to understand and appreciate that. India plans to host the next Quad summit. We have some proposals on how to make that productive. I'm sure so do our partners. We will discuss, and I'm sure we will agree. Once again, I thank Secretary Rubio for hosting us today, and I look forward to our discussions. Thank you.
a certain seriousness about responding to terrorism. As a democracy, I think it does, in many ways, does credit to us that you have leaders. I mean, whether you talk of Shashi Tharoor or whether you talk of Supriya Sule or Kanimari Ji, or, I can give you the list, or indeed leaders from the ruling party, Ravi Shankar Prasad Ji or Jay Panda, Sanjay Jha, who's part of the NDA coalition, or Shinde. Look, all of them, and again, if you look at the members, you had a diversity of people, and you had many people again who have some earlier association with foreign affairs. Salman Khurshid, Anand Sharma, people like Ghulam Nabi Azad, who are well known in many ways. So what it did, and you had some ambassadors as well, former ambassadors. So if you look at the entirety of that initiative, I think when you had a set of people with a track record, with that diversity, you actually saw the political pluralism of India come together on an important issue and send a strong unified message. And I think that was something really great, and it's something which, I mean, quite apart from being a minister, honestly, as a person, as a Indian citizen, I applaud that. On the terrorism issue, again, look, it is a fact that countries, often countries do not take a position when some other country is a victim of terrorism, which they would do when they themselves are. We have, in that respect, honestly been much more consistent and principled. That we have, when terrorist incidents, attacks happen elsewhere, outside India, we have largely followed the same position that we have taken when they have happened in India. So, is your point that others not doing it? My answer to you is yes, you are right. Many of them are not doing it, or not doing it sufficiently enough. And part of diplomacy is to exhort them, encourage them, persuade them, motivate them to do that. And which is why it's important to speak up, and which is why it's important to carry them with us to the best possible degree.